Hi everyone, this is Amanda Ellis of amandaellis.co.uk, Facebook page Angelic Celestial Colours, and YouTube channel Amanda Ellis. So it is autumn equinox, 23rd of September 2017, and you can hear the sea in the background. Hopefully it's not going to be too loud. I'm experimenting, getting out into nature. I woke up today with just a really strong sense that I needed to be in this particular spot actually, and many reasons for that, but and I'll talk about that. But let's just spend a moment just to breathe together and to set some time aside for some sacred time. Because life is busy, isn't it? There's always things that you could be doing, and it's really important, particularly in the times that we're in, just to set some time aside for some sacred space. So let's just do that. Let's just take a nice deep breath together, breathing in and breathing out, feeling the earth underneath us, breathing in and breathing out. So, why am I sitting here in particular? I'm actually sitting on a piece of headland in Bournemouth, near to where I live, called Hengistbury Head. And it is on a ley line, effectively. It's part of a ley line that goes up towards Avebury, Glastonbury, Stonehenge. It's that line. And on 11/11, I think it was a hell of a long time ago, it was quite a few years ago, I brought a group of people up here, and we sat and we made a mandala. Some of you watching this may have been one of those people. We had a great time. It was freezing cold though. And I've always felt that this spot in particular is really special, because there's lots of people that walk dogs here, but you're left on your own. It's a really private little place. And Metatron wanted me to come up here today to talk to you. So there isn't anything in my head that I feel I had to come and say to you. So I'm calling this Musings from the Hill. And should we just see what comes through? As I was walking up here, I was thinking about the build-up to 2012. 21st of December 2012, and I wonder where we all were, what we were all doing. I wonder whether you were on your spiritual path. Some of you were, some of you may not have been. But that whole build-up had a lot of hype and a lot of spin and a lot of speculation, a lot of fear about what was going to happen, particularly to the earth. A lot of, quite frankly, nonsense as well. And we all got a bit caught up in it. But it passed. There was a moment, definitely, of awakening then. But some of the changes that were prophesized, predicted, channeled through, didn't really appear. But I feel that some of that teaching is really coming back now as very relevant, actually. Not just in terms of some of the earth changes that maybe we're going to be seeing, and I've done other videos on that, so I'm not going to talk too much about that today. But what I particularly want to focus in on, or feels like Metatron's wanted me to talk about, is the difference between third dimensional energy and fifth dimensional energy. And sorry, it's just got a label here that's flapping in the wind. I'm going to just get rid of that because it's going to make a noise. Yeah, difference between third and fifth dimensional energy. If you take yourself back to 2012, there was a lot of people talking about the fact that those who were embodying a fifth dimensional consciousness or above somehow were going to be, I don't know, transported up, beamed up. We're going to be on a new earth. We're going to be on a different plane of existence to those that were still, operating on a third dimensional level. There was going to be a third dimensional earth, effectively, and a fifth dimensional earth. And, sorry, this label's bugging me, hold on. Okay. And what I'm really sensing now is that we can really feel that. But they got it wrong. It's not that we all suddenly were transported off this earth into a new land. It was the fact that we were always meant to stay here on the same earth with those operating at a different level of consciousness, at 3D level consciousness. But that our reality of how we experience life was going to be so profoundly different that effectively we are living in a different world. And I really get that now. I really get that in a way that I didn't get before. And I suspect quite a few of you will get that as well. And it's not easy because some of us are most of us are still surrounded by people who are not awake, who are still living in a very third dimensional energy, which is really away from unity and heart consciousness and spiritual evolution. And I was thinking about this walking up here, and Metatron was talking about the fact that, well, he was reminding me of an email that I got this week. It's been a funny week energetically, from the lady that helps me make my bottles, Tracy. And it was really profound, and I want to share some of what she said with you, because I've had a week where there's a part of me that's been a little bit disillusioned. I'm being honest with you, I'll always be honest with you, at quite how much work there is to do out there to get this planet into a place where we can truly say we're living in a fifth dimensional way. There's so much work to do. And obviously I specialise in channeling the archangels and working with the angelic energy. Although it's of course struck me that my Facebook page is called Angelic Celestial Colours, so the galactics were always going to come in as well. But anyway, it's been angelic energy I've been working with up to this point in time. But I'm really seeing that the wider society out there is still really slow in waking up to what the archangels told me this week is a fifth dimensional way to connect with them. And people are still either A, not aware angels are out there, or those that are waking up are still wanting to connect to them in a very third dimensional way, in a very traditional way, in a way that is about the archangels coming in to save you, to do it for you. So if you are connecting into Archangel Raphael, it's very much about Raphael, heal me. If you're connecting into Archangel Gabriel, it's very much Gabriel, tell me. He's the messenger angel. If you're connecting into Archangel Jophiel, it's very much Jophiel, make me happy. And the fifth dimensional way to connect to archangels is very much about Archangel Raphael, teach me how to heal myself. Archangel Gabriel, teach me how to listen to my own higher self. Archangel Jophiel, help me to understand where I block joy, where I thwart happiness in my own life. Can you feel the difference? It's a really fundamental difference. And I feel it's the next step of angel teaching, and it's something I'm really going to be rolling my sleeves up and doing. And I hope you'll follow me with that, because I think there's a huge wealth of information to come on that. And the archangels are saying there is a fifth dimensional way to connect to them. You know, they evolve like we do. It's not just about them racing in to do it for us all the time. That's not empowerment. That's not ascension. So there's a new way coming, but I just saw how much work there is to do with regard to getting that message out there, and for us, including myself, to be able to really adopt that. And then I got this email from Tracy. I wonder whether I've got it here actually on my phone. It's in my pocket over there. I'm going to go and grab it. You can look at the sea. Hold on. It's behind the camera. So, whilst I rummage for the message, you can just listen to the sea for a moment. Embarrassed that I'm reading this out because she thinks it's not good enough, and in a way that's a lesson for all of us, isn't it? Because we all have something to say and it's usually much better than we think it is. So let me find the message from Tracy. Okay, so thinking about how difficult it is to maybe get this message through. To read anything too personal now, so I need to paraphrase it a little bit. She talks basically about the fact that the work that we are doing together on this channel is very much almost like degree level, as opposed to secondary school or even junior school. And she makes the point that not everybody wants or needs to go to university. And I loved that because it was like the penny dropped. And it's not about putting ourselves above anybody else. It's just about realising that in this lifetime, some of us have chosen to do it in a different way, to bring through new information that maybe wider society isn't ready for yet, but that has to be seeded now, because otherwise we can never evolve, we can never move on from our present understanding. And Metatron is saying that there are many out there who just want to basically read the old textbooks, go over old information effectively that's been out there for quite a long time, whether it's on angels or any other esoteric subject. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It is a bit like going to school and basically signing up for the exam in a subject that's tried and tested, has a very set syllabus, has a very set number of subjects. It's been taught in a certain way for a long period of time, and you know you'll get the result that you expect. But it feels as though those of us that are doing this in a different way, in striving for a fifth dimensional way, which by its very nature means expanding into new ideas and new territories that others won't necessarily understand, means really we're not just going for degree level. Metatron is saying we're going for PhD level. We're going for PhD level, and that's why we're here. And so to not worry, basically, that many others are not getting it. To not worry that others in your family, or those you're married to, or those you're friends with, don't get it. As long as you surround yourself with some people that do. And I do believe that the online world has many faults. Many faults. There are many times I nearly press the delete button myself on Facebook and just disappear off it. But it has many, many benefits as well. And this is about us coming together. And when I say delete the Facebook button, it's not about my business page, it's more the personal page stuff, which sometimes just gets inundated with such nonsense and trivia and competition and spitefulness. I don't want to be part of it, really. But anyway, that's maybe a subject for another time. At the moment, we're talking about going for gold in this lifetime, trying to do something different in this lifetime, to effectively be pioneers in this lifetime. That's what we are. And I think if you are involved in what I'm trying to bring through here, you're watching these videos, please realise that you've chosen a path that has amazing rewards, but hasn't been done before. Hasn't been done before. And if you work with energies like Archangel Metatron, and then if you bring in energies like Ashtar, you are dealing with information and energy that has not been here yet on this planet. They're here to move us forward, and so it's always going to be challenging. And I think that's why this week has been challenging. I've also found it to be a week of enormous reflection. I don't know about you, a lot of reflection going on. But that's good as well, you know? Making this on equinox, on a pretty windy, see it's quite windy here now, day in the UK. As I sit here on this earth, I just feel such stability actually underneath me. Even though Gaia, Mother Earth, is shifting and changing, and there are many wild and unpredictable weather events happening and geophysical events, and they will continue, there is still this core of the earth that is very strong, very sure of where she is going and what she is doing, and she will evolve higher and higher. And for those that choose to not change, to not grow, to stay in the bubble of 3D, it's going to become an increasingly uncomfortable place. And so we have to have real deep compassion for those, maybe in our own personal lives, that are going through that. Because there is no wrong way or right way. I do feel that the movement towards, it's been very, very interesting, because it's the last 6 months I've noticed that the higher we're going in vibration, and the more potentiality there is for really this birth, this new dawn to come in for our earth and into our own lives. The escalation of fear has shot up, and it's also making some go back to traditional ways, you know, whether that be traditional forms of religion or structure. And I can really understand that, you know, it's in some ways it's going back to a safety net. It's what Metatron's saying, it's going back to that thing that's tried and tested. And that will only work if you've got people within those institutions that want to move them forward. If they don't exist, you're sort of going nowhere. Well, that's maybe a little unkind. You're not going nowhere. It's just you're repeating something that you've probably already learned before in another lifetime. There's a boat coming in. I'm looking at a boat coming in across the sea, and it's looks like a little fishing boat or something. It just feels really symbolic. It's sort of out there on its own. It's making its way across this great big expanse of sea. And even though it looks so tiny against the ocean, there is this... Okay, just had a nice glug of coffee. Oh, this air is so beautiful up here. If I could put it in a bottle for you, I would. Although I guess I already do. I've got some of my sprays here. Those of you that have my sprays, actually I just want to mention I've got the water spray here, okay? And I've put a shell into it, a clean shell, obviously I've washed it. I took it from the sea. Quite easy for me, obviously, because they're lying all over the beach. But those of you that have a water spray, you can actually, particularly the elemental sprays, it's quite nice to add something to them. So I've got a little shell in here. Anyway, that's by the by. What Metatron wanted me to talk about then in part 2 is the collective consciousness. It's getting blowier and blowier up here. Right, the collective consciousness. The wind is actually quite symbolic, because the collective consciousness can whip us all up into a state of fear, anxiety, excitement, and we just have to realise that although we are part of it, we can change it. and how important it is to really hold our own space and our own light and our own core stability at this time to bring balance to the collective consciousness that is really struggling. It's really struggling. But we can't divorce ourselves from it. We can't make it. I think what's happening is that some of us are viewing the collective consciousness that's out there a bit like our own personal. It's a bit like how we view our own personal shadow sometimes. We don't want to look at our own personal shadow. We don't want to look at those parts of ourselves that are ugly. It's like we'll push them away and we'll just concentrate on our light. And of course, that's the worst thing that you can do. You have to integrate your shadow. And it's the same with the collective consciousness. There was a little discussion on Facebook the other day, and I don't know, I wasn't really following it very much, but at one point somebody said about somebody in the political eye at the moment, I'm not going to name him, you can probably guess, and they said, oh, this person, so-and-so, he doesn't reflect me. And I thought, of course he reflects you. He reflects all of us. That's why he's there in a position of power. You can't not. And it's the same when we look at things that we don't agree with or that we find evil in the collective consciousness. A very topical thing at the moment, which some of you are asking me about, is weather patterns. Are they man-made? How does it exist? And what I really say to you, what I'm really stressing so strongly, is if they are, then yes, they're part of the collective consciousness, but you can change that. Stop being powerless. These people who are doing this have only got the power because we have allowed them to have it. The biggest block to progress, much of the time, is apathy. Apathy, which we just let people get on with things. We let the world carry on the way that it has been carrying on. Because, quite frankly, this is going to sound tough, but I think it's true. Most of the time we can't be bothered to get off our backsides. And I've put myself in that category too. I work in different ways, of course, too. I'm talking about sometimes, go on a march, make your voice heard. Peaceful protest is really important. That's how things change. So rather than just posting about what is wrong, own it, and then try and add energy to changing it, rather than just continuing to feed it by talking about how wrong it is and how it's about giving our power away effectively to them that are doing something. Even if they are, whoever they are, we are part of the collective and we can change that. I really feel that. Can you see the boat? There it is. A tiny speck. Every time I sit beside the sea, I'm just reminded of how big and vast this amazing universe is. How extraordinarily beautiful it is. How much mystery there is out there, and how we are never, ever going to understand all of it. So stop trying so hard. It's about experiencing it. More than anything, it's about experiencing it. And enjoying the experience also of just being here. Lucky to be here, alive, right now. Back to being pioneers. We chose to be here. We chose every single piece of this. We knew how difficult it was going to get. Collectively and individually, we still signed up for it. And I think sometimes we need to give ourselves a pat on the back that knowing was going to be like, quite how chaotic it was going to be in 2017. Going through the next few years, particularly up to 2020, we still signed up for it. We didn't just sign up for it. We put our hand up and forced our way to the front of the queue to get in. So don't feel a victim by what's happening. I also want to say something actually about the storms which are raging around our world and the earthquakes. Because my heart goes out in real compassion to anybody going through that. And you can feel very useless actually sometimes when you're sitting somewhere like this, very safe, not affected on a day-to-day level in terms of what can you do. And we talk about prayer, don't we, and creating grids and sending light and angels, and all of that is really, really important. But so too is just strengthening our own physical body. And that is because, again, we go back to the collective consciousness. And what came through to me this week was I've been feeling quite tired and quite battered, to be honest. A bit like probably I'm looking now with my hair. Like I've been through a storm. And I was thinking, why am I feeling like this? I know I'm 50, but I'm feeling really tired, and I shouldn't be really feeling as I am. And I asked Metatron about it, and he asked me to look at what's going on in the collective. He said, Amanda, there's so many out there who are going through these storms and who are being battered, literally, physically battered, losing their homes, losing their livelihood, having everything stripped away from them. And he said, you are part of that collective. You're part of that energy that is experiencing that. And so any of us that are sensitive, any of us that are empaths, are picking up on that big time. And we're actually feeling as though we've gone through the storm with you, even though we haven't. So those of us that haven't physically been affected in terms of losing our homes, or having the earthquake erupt, or the tsunami come in, or the hurricane hit us, make sure you're looking after your physical self so you can be as strong as possible to then add back into the mix your energy, which is still fresh, not completely tired and on the floor, to help and to support those that are actually going through it. I think that's why I've come up here today, to be honest with you, because I've got a mountain of work to do, back at home. I'm a week behind my emails. I'm really sorry if you're waiting for an email from me. I will get to them. But I also know that I can only do this work if I myself am recharged, and not feeling tired. So even though I'm talking to you, it's a pleasure to talk to you. This isn't work. This is me sitting on a beautiful cliff looking out to sea with a cup of coffee, sharing a moment with you. But equally making you realise I'm doing it also to strengthen myself, to be able to then go back home and do the work I need to do. We've all been battered, we've all been emotionally and energetically battered by the storms, even if you're not in Puerto Rico, even if you're not in Mexico. If you are an empath and you're sensitive and your heart is open, you can't not be affected by these events. And it doesn't just affect you emotionally, it affects you physically. So I bought 3 sprays with me today. I wasn't quite sure why I was bringing them, but now it makes perfect sense. I've showed you these before. I bought the Crimson Base Chakra to help us feel safe, to support our safety, our security, our anchor. I've bought the water, which helps to balance our emotions. And the third one I've got with me is Archangel Uriel. And I think I'm going to just spray him and see what he has to say, because we've talked about water and red before. But Uriel is a real mystery to me. On the bottles that I make, the words that come up with Uriel, the words I've put are loving, service and light. He helps us to connect to how we're meant to be of service, okay? How we're meant to go out there and do our stuff and help humanity. And he feels very similar to Metatron to me, which I think is why I find him slightly mysterious. You know, how is he different? Of course he is different, but he's very good for helping us and the world when we're going through these big earth events. Let's just spray him and see what he has to say today. Okay, so I'll take my glasses off for a moment. So Archangel Uriel, and if you've never connected to Uriel before, that's fine. Let's just connect to Uriel, and I'll put his energy up to the camera and see what comes through. And he's asking me to repeat a story I said this week, actually, in a talk I gave, which was, and those of you that came to my Dublin workshop will have heard me say this, the analogy he gives, and it's still a really, really powerful one, is in the UK, I'm sure in many other countries as well, when we had mining, basically to make sure that the mines were safe, you would send a canary bird down the mine shaft, and if the canary bird came up healthy and alive, it was then safe for the miners to go down afterwards. And obviously if the canary came back dead, then you wouldn't send the miners down. Sorry, I got distracted, there's a runner there. So he's likening his energy to being the one that goes in first to sense the danger, to see if it's safe for us to proceed, okay? Very much like those canaries did, you know? I know they didn't have a choice, but it's a good analogy. They were sent down to see if there was danger, and if there was gases in the mine, you know, they would know, because the canaries would come up dead. So in the same way, Uriel is saying, I'm there to be the first into battle before you. And also, I feel he's saying we have to start acknowledging the hunches that we get, okay? If we start to feel that we just have a feeling that, you know, I'm not meant to go somewhere today, you know, or I'm not meant to do something today. Maybe start to honour that a little bit, okay? So, yeah, Uriel I think we'll look at another time because the video is getting quite long. But I just wanted to bring his energy in. And I think before I end, I'm just going to sit here and let's just see what the earth has to say as well, okay? So I'm just going to move back and let's just breathe together for a moment and listen to the sea. Hopefully you can hear the sea. And you know, just hearing the sea, Gaia, Mother Earth, she wants to talk about cycles, and she wants you to know that everything that's happening in the world at the moment is part of a cycle. You know, our Earth is so old, it's so ancient, it's seen so much, so many changes, so many different ages, so many different climates, so many different happenings. She's always been able to regenerate and come back stronger. And even though she's in pain at the moment, because of some of the events on our world happening, there's also this feeling of excitement that I'm getting from her. That like the waves coming in, she's wanting to welcome in this new ascension age. She's wanting to welcome back a new era of enlightenment upon our earth. She's sick of the old. She's really tired of the old. She's been very, very patient with us. she will teach us what we need to know. And we have to see everything that's happening in that context as teaching us something, bringing us together, realising we are all inhabitants of this one beautiful earth. And on a day like today, aren't we lucky to be here? Let's just say a prayer together. Dear God, dear angels, dear Holy Spirit, asking for love to unite us, for light to guide us, for darkness to recede, for hope to flourish, for joy to spread, for men's hearts to open to this new energy, this new world that wishes to birth herself, for the divine feminine to strengthen, for the old patriarchal energies to weaken, for the changes to happen in accordance with divine will and in agreement with all the souls who have signed up in perfect timing, as peacefully as possible. We thank you. Okay. Have a good day, everyone. Much love. Bye for now. I'm patient with it. You know, it knows where it's going. And it feels symbolic of us and our journey at this time. And I think we've really got to dig deep at the moment. Really dig deep, connect to each other, and support each other as well. I'm going to turn the camera off for a few minutes just for me to collect my thoughts before moving on to part 2.